Hello, I thought this would be a fitting place to do this, out taking a walk. This is the Curtis Arboretum, one of my favorite places in the world, and they're planting trees over here, which is really nice. But this has come along. This used to all be like, I don't know if you can see that, like just like green space, like just like flat grass space, but they're planting trees, and that's awesome. Anyway, I'm here to review A Walk to Remember by Nicholas Sparks. And I figured I'd take a walk. This seems like a place that would be in a Nicholas Sparks novel, I guess. I've only read one Nicholas Sparks novel now, this one. And I'm super glad I did because it was incredible. I'm gonna try to get away from all the vehicles. There's like a road back there where the cars drive by. So I'm gonna walk in that direction. So let's go that way. And I'll walk while I talk. So A Walk to Remember by Nicholas Sparks. This was a quick read. It was only like a little less than 200 pages, which is about the length of the novels I write, essentially. Practically a novella, I guess. Not really. What's the length of a novella? Under 200 pages? This was only like 170. Anyway, this was adapted into a film 20 years ago or something. Like in 2002, 2003, with like Mandy Moore and Shane West, I believe. The guy from, was he from Dawson's Creek? I think he was. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong person. He was an early 90s, not 90s, early 2000s actor, as was Mandy Moore. Mandy Moore was also a pop singer at that point, and she recorded that one song for the movie, Cry, and I love that song. The whole time I was reading this, that song was stuck in my head. It's such a catchy song. And I kind of wish I'd read this without having the song stuck in my head because I don't know if it would have cleansed my palate or whatever, but this book is not really like the movie. It's still a tearjerker. It's still beautiful, beautifully written. It's been so long since I've watched the movie, honestly. I swear I won't talk about the movie all day. But this is relevant because I think the film was set in like the early 2000s, like the contemporary time for like when it was filmed. This book was set in the 1950s, and it's like a guy, you know, the main character Landon. He's like in his late 50s, and he's looking back over his life, and he thinks about that when he was 17 years old, and that this was like in the 1950s, and he goes on and on about how great, you know, and quaint everything is in America in the 1950s in North Carolina, which is where this is set. Which, you know, everybody's nostalgic for the past, I guess, including me. I'm 34 now, and I certainly already think that 17 for me was half a lifetime ago. That's kind of crazy to think about. But anyway, but he thinks about his like senior year in high school when he was 17, and when he met this girl whose name was Jamie, and she's like the weird girl, the odd girl out in the class. She's like outcast by everybody. She's like conservative. She carries around a Bible. Her father's a pastor, and with like a reputation for being an eccentric, weird pastor guy, who directs plays. Like he's like this playwright slash director. His name's Hegbert Sullivan, Jamie Sullivan. But so like in so the play that this pastor writes is about this guy who loses his wife in childbirth or something, and then he's trying to be a good father to his daughter, and he's struggling. He's trying to find like this perfect gift to make his daughter's Christmas wonderful and good and all that, and be a good father. And so an angel comes to him and shows him the way how to be a good father and to rekindle his relationship with his daughter. So the plot of that play is kind of like relevant to the ongoings in the novel, because then we have Landon, who's the main character, who I said, this whole story is basically his flashback and him remembering this time when he met Jamie and her father and like took part in this play. Because what happens is Landon is kind of like, he hangs out with the bad boys in the class or whatever. He himself is kind of deep down he's a good person and he cares, but he's 17, he's still growing up, he's still trying to figure out how to, you know, be an adult and be a good person. And so, you know, he's been through a few breakups and relationships and friend drama with his friend group and stuff like that. And for some reason, he's like, his father is like a politician, like a local, like councilman or something. So he comes from a well-off family, Landon does. And for some reason, I forget why, he can't find a date to the homecoming dance. A guy like him usually doesn't have problems with that, but for some reason he's struggling right now, and he's like at this crossroads in his life, and he's like, who can I take to the homecoming dance? And then he turns to the page in the yearbook with Jamie's picture, and he's like, wait, I know her. She's like that weird offbeat girl from class who nobody cares about. I'm sure she would say yes, right? Kind of a bad reason for asking someone to go to a dance, but he does. And she goes with him, and she takes care of everybody who gets in trouble at the dance. Like this one girl who is in the friend group throws up and everything in the bathroom, and Jamie takes her home. Jamie, basically, this girl, I wish I knew this girl in high school, because she's like perfect. She's literally my dream girl and everybody's dream girl. I'm talking about a 17-year-old right now, but I mean anybody in the world who would be like this. Nobody is as good and kind-hearted and as selfless as the character of Jamie is in this novel. I feel like no adult or teenager or whatever age you are, I've never met a saint like Jamie. And you know, does that make me believe the character less in this novel? Well, not really. Nicholas Sparks does kind of write, he has a reputation for writing like these idealistic romance novels that are beautiful and sad in the end, which I like. As a cheesy, sappy romantic, I'm surprised I didn't get into his stuff before, you know, sooner. But Jamie, you know, the whole point of her character, she has faith, and she, you know, she comes from a religious background. Her father's a pastor, but her father, the play that he wrote is essentially like autobiographical, because he too lost his wife in childbirth. So Jamie has grown up without a mother, and all she has is her father. And yet she still has faith, despite everything she's been through in life, you know, losing her mother and everything, and being outcast by most people in her class and in the school and in the town. She still has faith and is patient, and basically like lives by 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient, love is kind, and everything. She even quotes it in the book. Or Landon, you know, Landon starts reading the Bible with her at one point when they start hanging out more. Like, I'm getting ahead of myself. So Landon, you know, takes her to the dance, and then after the dance, she asks him to be the lead, the male lead in the play that's going to be put on for the season. And he agrees as like a favor to her. And so he does the play, and that leads to him and Jamie and their relationship deepening, as you can imagine. This is a romance story. And it just gets more beautiful from there. I'm not gonna spoil anything, because I don't spoil things. The book came out a long time ago. The movie came out a long time ago, so anyone who's familiar with A Walk to Remember probably knows what the plot twist essentially is, and what's really going on with Jamie and her father, and you know, why she's so open to the relationship with Landon, and why she's so patient and, you know, strategic, I don't know if that's the right word, intentional about their time together and all that. And it really is beautiful. If, you know, some people might call that contrived. I don't think it's contrived. I think a novel like this, you know, I like fantasy novels, I like romantic fantasies, and the existence of a person like Jamie seems like a fantasy in some ways. I don't think it is. I think there's people out there like that. I think it's hard. I think people like her are rare, but I kind of have faith. Maybe someday I'll still meet someone like that. I don't know. I've kind of given up on that at this point in my life. But I don't know. Anyway, it is beautiful how Landon comes to warm up to Jamie, and because at first he's very resistant, and he too like sees her as like the way his friends see her, but he's more open to it. He's a little more like lenient toward her and gives her more grace, and he sees there's something there, there's something about her, and soon he realizes there's really something about her, and it becomes like his whole life, and he like basically throws the whole of his being into caring about her and loving her and being there. She takes care of the orphans. She like wants to donate money. She like puts up money donation jars all over the town, and he starts helping her with that. And it is beautiful. And I feel like a novel like this, you know, Nicholas Sparks gets this reputation as like a cliche romantic writer, but I don't know. A lot of the things illustrated in this novel are what love is really about, I think. And it would be a blessing to find something like that. So I definitely recommend reading this. I might pick up the Notebook at some point. And yeah, be prepared to cry, be prepared to have your heart broken by reality and love and the sheer beauty of it. That's what, you know, I feel like Nicholas Sparks really nailed that formula of writing material that has to do with things like that. So I'm gonna take more of a walk now. Hopefully I remember it. I definitely will, because I take way too many pictures not to. So yeah, I'll see you later. It was good to do a book review like this. And yeah, take care.